The preliminary impression of the German Foreign Office was that Subhash had gone to Germany for broadcasting propaganda. One of the key persons to meet him after being welcomed by the high officials of the Protocol Department, therefore, was Hans Quelling of the Broadcasting Department. Without wasting any time, Subhash met Ernst Wöhrmann, the director of the Political Department in the German Foreign Ministry, the very next day to discuss his plan. Having arrived only the previous day, Subhash could describe the main elements of his plan in brief. He wants to set up an Indian government in Germany, visualizing as a model the Polish, etc. governments in exile. To form his government, he expects certain promises from the Axis powers which he wants to formulate in detail. Besides propaganda actions, the program furthermore includes the instigation of uprisings in India. As a final objective, he has in mind the entry by the Axis powers into India, in regard to which he cited the following figures. The Anglo-Indian army consisted of only 300,000 men, of which at most 70,000 were Englishmen. The major portion of the Indian elements was willing to defect at any time. An army of 100,000 men with modern equipment would be adequate to free India from English rule. Wöhrmann, obviously non-committal at this stage, suggested that once Subhash had put down his ideas in the form of a detailed document, he should be received by the Foreign Minister Joachim von Ribbentrop. Subhash submitted his first detailed plan on 9th April, titled Plan for Cooperation between the Axis Powers and India. He argued that despite facing numerous defeats, England had not relaxed its political and economic grip on India, and if it survived the war, its policy would be to restore its power by exploiting India's rich resources. The British Empire was the greatest obstacle not only to India's attainment of freedom but also to human progress. With the hostility of Indians towards Britain, they could help by providing material assistance in achieving the common aim of the Axis powers and India, that is, the destruction of the British Empire. He proposed a comprehensive plan for implementation in 4 geographical areas: Europe, Afghanistan, the independent tribal area between Afghanistan and India, and inside India. The work that needed to be done in Europe included establishing a free India government which would sign a treaty with the Axis powers to provide for India's liberation in the event of an Axis victory. The aim of the treaty was to convince Indians that the Axis powers were guaranteeing their freedom once victory had been achieved. The Axis countries, in return, would be given special privileges when a free government had been formed in India. The Free India government would also set up legations in all the friendly countries in Europe and start propaganda, especially through the radio, exhorting Indians to rise up in revolt against the British. Arrangements would be made to send necessary materials to India to help the rebellion via Afghanistan. The broadcasts would be made in the name of Radio Free India. A headquarters would be set up in Kabul to maintain communications between Europe and India and provided with the necessary equipment. Subhash claimed that his agents were already at work in the independent tribal zone. Their activity needed to be coordinated for large-scale attacks on British bases, for which experts needed to be dispatched from Europe. Isolated anti-British elements like the Fakir of EP also needed to be integrated into the overall plan. The area needed to be developed into a powerful center of propaganda with fully equipped printing shops and radio transmitters. Agents from the independent zone would select scouts from the NWFP. Broadcasts to India needed to be made in a grand style, from a European station initially, followed by other transmitters in the independent zone. His agents and party members would be instructed to obstruct the British administration by inducing people through propaganda not to join the army, not pay taxes, and refuse to obey the British laws. Indian units in the army were to be approached to rise up in rebellion, and strikes were to be coordinated in those factories that supported the British war effort. Materials required for supporting acts of sabotage, an idea that he imbibed from the Italian minister in Kabul, Pietro Quaroni, against strategic railway lines, bridges and factories would also be supplied. Insurrection would be organized among the civilian population and